Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Stock Trading Pro. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. New stock market news. Lucid earnings come out after the close today, scheduled to come out after the close today. We're obviously going to talk about the global news event that's going on right now and how it's affecting everybody, how it's affecting the stock market. We're going to break down price action in the market right now and determine whether or not we are now seeing a short covering rally last Thursday and Friday, which was a pretty strong buying opportunity for those of you that were willing to take that chance as market got crushed. I was not one of them. I was mostly day trading. I actually have a short sale still open on General Motors right now. So we're going to break down a lot of the electric vehicle stocks today, starting out with Lucid. I have a very obvious price level that I'm looking to be a buyer of LCID stock today. If it hits that level after earnings, I'm good. If not, I'm going to leave it alone. We're actually going to break down, as what we do with a lot of things, we're going to break down the entire sector. We're going to look at electric vehicle stocks. We're going to take a look at electric vehicle charging stocks. And then we're actually going to break down, I have my entire game plan that I have mapped out for today, which you can see here. So we're going to cover that in a lot of detail as well. So in this video, we're going to focus on electric vehicle stocks, specifically with Lucid Motors having their earnings scheduled for after the close today. So stick around. We're going to be back in just 1 second. Okay, so technical difficulty. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you so much for being with me here today. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today, but we're going to jump right into the market. I thought what would be kind of fun is if I actually walked you straight into my thought process for how I'm mapping out this week, how I'm mapping out buying stocks today, which stocks I'm going to be buying, profit targets. Should we be looking at bigger picture targets? Should we be looking to book our profits on stocks that we buy into momentum, or should we be looking to add to those positions? So I thought it'd be kind of fun to run you through the ideas that I have going into today. So I'm actually going to pull this up over here. Hopefully everybody can see this pretty clear. So again, depending on where you're reading it right now, a lot of people are calling this World War Web or World War Wired right now. We've never really experienced something like this where virtually everybody has a cell phone, and as new things are unfolding, we're seeing it very, very quickly. So again, as we said last week, our prayers go out to everybody who is personally being affected by that. And let's hope that the world comes to its senses and we can actually get back to normal. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but our prayers go out to everybody over there. So let's get into the game plan. Let's actually break it down. So stock futures are down 60 handles. And if you don't know, I do my game planning at night and then review it again in the morning. So this is my review in the morning. Good morning, Hero. How's it going today? Good morning. Good morning. So this is the big thing right now. Ukraine news unfolding at lightning speed. This is just the way we are right now. Many are calling this World War. There was a New York Times article. They said World War Wired. I can't even say it. World War Web, whichever's easier. Information gets online at the speed of every cell phone. I don't know about you personally right now, but depending on friends and social media that you're on, everybody seems to have differing opinions on what's real, what's actually happening now, what's filmed, what happened already. All I know right now is I am in maximum risk control mode. When I'm buying stocks right now, I have immediately putting in my stop losses. I know exactly where I'm looking to get out. I know exactly whether or not I'm going to be looking to use a momentum profit maximizer on the stocks I buy, or whether I'm going to be looking for a trend trading profit maximizer. We actually have one stock today that exploded into new all-time highs, and that stock is NUE. So we take a look at that right there. NUE. Got a lot of questions about this over the weekend and whether or not I'd be looking to buy it. Hit new all-time highs, gigantic move, held the 50-period moving average absolutely perfectly here, and then absolutely perfect again over here. Let's see. Hey, Ed, good morning. How's it going? So is it a new buy now? If you've been a regular viewer of our channel, you know that the kind of ideas like this that are extended in a very short period of time, we'd be more inclined to be moving up our profit maximizer to a tighter one and trading this as what we call a bullish echo. I would not be looking to initiate a new swing trade. I would be looking to day trade NUE. What I am looking for in NUE, just to give you an example right now, is right here. I'd be looking for something like this where we have a 3-day pause somewhere over here above this breakout level, and then I'd be looking for a new long. So probably somewhere between 128 and 130 after the stock pausing. But the stock of the day that we want to talk about first is Lucid. Lucid has earnings scheduled after the close. And these are the two levels that I'm looking at. We got down, held the support at 22. And now you can see once, twice, 3 times is where we exploded last year, pulled back, held that same level again. So I'm really looking right now between 28 and 30. So 28 and 30 in Lucid is the area that I'm looking for earnings to come out. Guidance to be good going forward. The way earnings have been playing out recently, good earnings have been seeing that stock price just explode to the upside. If that's what happens, we should be above 30 pretty comfortably. But because we now have selling order flow since December in Lucid stock, LCID stock, I am looking to wait for the first close over 30 and then start building a position. So I want to work that through for you right now. This is the level. Basically, this level here is right around 28, but you can see over here at 30 is some resistance. So you got 28, 34, and then some minor resistance up at 48. So we're really going to shift this now to the next two levels if we break out to the upside. So my game plan for Lucid stock is here's the first level, here's the second level where I'd be looking to add, and there's the third level where I'd be looking to have as my ultimate profit target. So the first level, it needs to get through 30 Lucid stock. Again, it's LCID stock. Then we need to get up to that 50-period moving average, which is right around 34. If we get up to that 34 level and pause, that's where I'll be looking to add shares and then ultimately looking for 45 to 46. So what you can do right now, I have it all mapped out for you. You can actually just take a quick screenshot of that right there. So what we also want to do is we want to break down some of the other stocks in that area and see how Lucid is trading compared to that. So this is the list that I have here. Some of them are electric vehicle stocks and some of them are electric vehicle charging stocks. So I'm actually going to go through this list right now just to give everybody an idea of which stocks might meet your criteria. Now, one of the most interesting ones to me is Rivian Automotive. I've mentioned this quite a bit in the past. If you know what their business model is, their business model reminds me a tremendous amount of Microsoft, where they're building the base product and then they're allowing other people to put add-ons on top of that, which kind of expands the market for what they can do dramatically. So Rivian, to me, is what has the most interesting story. They basically build the chassis for these electric vehicle cars, and then other people put their model on top of that, which is kind of common in that industry, but not so much common for electric vehicles. So Rivian stock, which has been pausing right near all-time lows since the IPO, is the next one that I'm going to be looking for if we see good earnings in Lucid Group stock today. So obviously, we're going to compare it also to Tesla. Tesla's been taking a little bit of a hit. If we look at Tesla in multiple timeframes right now, the weekly chart has been bearish order flow, trying to hang on to the 50-period moving average. It actually reversed and closed in the top 10% of the range, but as of right now, I'm not looking to be a buyer of Tesla stock. I'm waiting on it a little bit more. I want to see, can it follow up more than just one day of buying pressure? So working our way through some of the other stocks, Ford was looking amazing right over here and then just has absolutely imploded. I'm not looking to do anything in Ford stock until it gets up here. Same thing with General Motors. General Motors looked amazing on this breakout right here, has not done anything at all. So just to be clear right now, Lucid stock is the one I'm looking to buy. Rivian will be the one after that. I'm looking for Tesla to at least go well bid for more than 1 week. That's how I'm breaking down the electric vehicle stocks for myself personally right now. I want to get into the Chinese electric vehicle stocks and talk about whether there's any opportunities over there right now as well. The stock that I trade the most of when I'm in this group is XPEV. And you can see that XPEV is clearly stuck at the bottom of a trading range, but definitely in a trading range going all the way back to June. So really a 9-month window. This area right here after earnings has probably been the easiest money that you could have made in the stock for a while. But since then, the tape has changed and it's going sideways. There was an offering on the stock. Everything just completely changed. So what I want to do now is I just want to give you a list so you can complete your list of everything. If you happen to be looking at electric vehicle stocks, whether it's Lucid, whether it's Tesla, you need a big list because when you're building out your watch list, even if you're only trading Lucid stock, you still need to have other stocks in your watch list so you can know whether or not that industry group is finding buying pressure or selling pressure all at the same time. Now, the obvious question is, why do we do that? And it really comes down to so you could make more on the stocks that you buy when they are performing well. So if there's a lot of money flowing into the industry group at the same time, which we actually mentioned 2 industry groups last week that I'm going to remind you of in a second, when money's flowing into that group at the same time and all of those stocks are lighting up green on the day, the week, and the month, and they're all meeting minimum criteria on moving averages, which for me means they need to be, the stock price needs to be above the 50-period moving average. When there's a lot of money flowing in and they're all doing the same thing, that's when it's time for us to maybe have a little bit more share size, but definitely hold on to those trades a little bit longer. So if we take a look at Chinese electric vehicle stocks, we're taking a look at XPEV, NIO, and LI as well. Those are the other ones that I'm keeping an eye on. Now, as far as some other stuff in that area, so that's the list that we just gave you right here. Other stuff you want to keep an eye on are the charging stations. You need to make a list of these as well. So we'll take a look at these 4 so that you get an idea. We have CHET, again, bearish order flow. It's actually still broke to the downside. Nothing to do here for me until we get over 16. BLNK, starting to work this trade just a little bit. You can see that we drew a Fibonacci retracement tool, and the level that we're actually looking for is here as the first level for BLNK based on this move to the downside. We did have a couple of nice pushes and pauses. We couldn't get over the 50-period moving average, but we're right there again. So if you happen to be watching this video right now or this live stream and you are a swing trader, I just want to give you the criteria that part of what I scan for is minimum criteria is above the 50-period moving average for me to have a little bit raised conviction level for the amount of position size that I want on my initial position and for my initial profit targets if I choose to buy those stocks above the 50-period moving average. Some of the stocks that we're watching are below the 50-period moving average, but showing signs of turning around by maybe having a bullish order flow on the weekly chart, or maybe just that the monthly chart happens to be green. So that's what we're looking at here in BLNK. We're not looking to size up, but it's knocking on the door of the 50-period moving average. So now it's worked its way up into my game plan for this week. So you can see that right there. And this 33 level is where we're looking. Plug is another one. That's something we've been working on for a while. It's not quite up to that same level. For me, it's got to get above 24. You can see that it's actually worked its way, kind of working its way back. But if we give ourselves, again, the same thing with the 50-period moving average, we're talking about the initial profit target would be up here in this 32 area. So it's roughly $8 to $10 on the other side. And EVGO is another one that is actually back above, but I still see it kind of in this window here. So this stock right now for me needs to get above there. Found resistance there, found support there, resistance, and resistance again 2 more times. And that's a big question that we get all the time. So just so you know, that level is just below $11. I normally don't trade penny stocks or OTC stocks. I'm usually over $10. But what I want to talk about is support and resistance levels. A lot of people make them more complicated than they need to be. You want to write this down. Whenever you're looking to buy a stock, support or resistance is nothing more than recognizing where did buyers or sellers do something significant the last time and how many times did they do it at that price. The more times that something happens at that price, the more significant that level becomes. So in this case here for EVGO, $11 is the level. We want to work our way back over into the game plan. And I'm going to kind of jump around in pieces here. And I'm going to work my way down to this list here, which is the solar stocks. Solar stocks were very strong last week, and they had some pretty good follow through. You want to make sure that you have them in your watch list. So Run, again, putting this in context, Run is still below the 50. So again, like that, you should know now, based on the way I'm looking to buy stocks, if Run, oh, I got some, I think I have shaving cream. If Run is still, or any of these stocks are still below the 50-period moving average, but there's a catalyst that I like where the volume increases, the price action increases, and if I'm looking to initiate a position, if they're below the 50-period moving average, that means my share size, my initial share size is going to be a lower piece of that trade. So we might have full share size, half share size, or a third share size. These stocks that are interesting to me right now, but below the 50, I'll look to have a smaller initial share size, look for the next push, the next pause, and hopefully that happens over the 50-period moving average. So I want to give you a couple of ideas. There's Run, ENPH. Obviously, again, now your eye should be quickly trained to go like right there, right? That's interesting. We finally got back up there. We got to get above there. SPWR, CSIQ. Okay, and probably the one that I trade the most of, which is JKS, which has been in a trading range for a while. So this needs to break out here too. So that's the next list of stocks that are something I'm going to be watching. Working our way into another list, which is this one, healthcare. We talked about healthcare last week, and Thursday and Friday, healthcare showed a really strong bid. There were a lot of stocks under the market, kind of the opposite of what some of those energy stocks did. A lot, CVX and Exxon, they had these big giant moves to the upside and then giant red candlesticks for Thursday and Friday and just imploded. Technically, they should be rallying, right, with everything that's going on in the world right now. So far, they feel like they've kind of lost their mojo. Healthcare stocks are kind of on the other side of that, where we've started to pay attention to the hourly charts, and we'll work our way over there as well. And you can see here, this is a really clean move. So what I'm watching now is we're clearly below the 50, but we are kissing this longer term move to the downside. So it's not a trade yet. So remember, a lot of what we talk about here is tracking journal, which means set alerts for prices that you want to see penetrated. And then it goes into your trading game plan. Trading game plan are ideas that we're looking to be involved with today. So some of these are in the trading game plan today in the healthcare area. Some of them are going into the tracking journal because they're at breakout levels. And if they break those levels, then I'll look to put them into the trading game plan. So this is something you need to learn how to do. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of what I have on here right now. And you can start to understand how to put this together. Actually, you know what? I'll open up the permissions on this. You can actually take a look at that. There it is right there. I might have to change the permissions for you to be able to view that. Yeah, let me actually change that for you while we're doing it here. There you go. You can actually grab that link. I'll put this link below as well. So the last one we want to talk about here are cybersecurity stocks. We mentioned these last week. Obviously, Russia is a very dominant force in cyber attacks. Cybersecurity stocks last week are an area that, again, unfortunate situation, but it's something we need to take advantage of as active stock traders. So this is the list of, again, you can go in here, grab this list, and you could pull the list out for yourself. These are the stocks that I'm looking at from a cyber security perspective. So we just gave you 4 different areas to pay attention to this week. We have Lucid stock and the other electric vehicle stocks. We have the electric vehicle charging station stocks. We looked at healthcare stocks, and we broke it down into cyber security stocks heading into today. So now we actually want to take this a step further. We want to look at the bigger picture of what's going on in the market right now. We want to take a quick look at the S&P 500 futures, and then how that plays into some other ideas that I'm looking at going into today. So the bottom line here is what the game plan I'm watching for is after 2 strong bullish days of trading, today will determine if we witnessed a short covering rally or the start of a new bullish run. So if you paid attention last week, or if you happen to be on the stock market live stream that we did, we said the difference between a short covering rally versus new buying. Short covering rallies go up quickly and then come down quickly because those are people getting out of short positions. And if new buyers don't come in other words, it's still bearish order flow, you're going to see yourself float right back down to where the short covering rally started. So what we're looking for today, what we're looking for this week, at least Monday and Tuesday, we're looking for, although the market's trading lower right now, we're looking for it to hold that bid. So we're looking for fresh buyers to come in after this rally who bought the dip last week, and now new buyers looking for that to hold up in that level. So that's what we're looking at here. If the stock market rallies again today with a lower opening, that would be impressive, which we actually are trading lower right now, although we've actually picked up a little bit from early this morning. We were down much more earlier this morning. So you can see where we are. We're slowly grinding higher. And on the 5-minute chart, we are kind of holding the 50-period moving average. But I think the chart that a lot of us are focusing on right now is this one. Let me go over to the SPY and show you exactly what I'm paying attention to. And that is this: a push and a pause, a push and a pause. That is very healthy price action. The fact that we did not sell off into the weekend with what's going on in the world right now, I know the market's down right now, but that's pretty impressive. The fact that we held that bid and nobody panicked over the weekend. Same thing with the VIX reading, the volatility, CBOE volatility reading started to trend down for most of the day on Thursday and Friday. So fear kind of got sucked out of the market. Now, the other side of that is the fact that it was so high, premiums were so inflated, they're just kind of reverting back to the mean. We'll see. So the price action that I'm looking for, what I'm looking for Monday and Tuesday, but more specifically on Monday, and this is going to set the tone for my trading for the rest of the week. We pushed up. I want to see, do we pause, pull back maybe a little bit on light volume? If that's the case, where the tick readings, one of the most common indicators that I use, and I'll pull that up for you right now, just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be watching from a day trading perspective. And I use the New York Stock Exchange cumulative tick, and we look at it on the 5-minute chart. Let me get this off of here. And we're just going to pull up Friday's price action. Now, that chart looks like a giant mess, right? If you happen to not have both seen that before, but it's actually incredibly simple to use. You're going to use the tick indicator, especially on the day trading side of things, to determine, is the smart money buying stocks right now? Are deep pockets involved, and how aggressively are they involved? So there's zero. So if you could imagine 1,000 stocks upticking, meaning it went from 50 to 50.01, versus 300 stocks downticking, went from 50 to 49.99 every moment as the market's unfolding, right? So if you can remember, upticking versus downticking. So in that case, there was 700 more stocks upticking. So if we measure zero, the longer and more forceful it is above zero, and more importantly, above plus 500 towards plus 1,000, then we know that there's a lot of buying across the board. Now, this happens to be the New York Stock Exchange. If we look at zero and we're punching down to negative 1,000, like we had on the open on Thursday and a couple of days, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, where the selling was heavier, we know that there's a dominant force of bearish order flow, and we either look to sell short or stay in cash, waiting for the market to bottom out. If we get stuck between negative 500 and positive 500, we don't really do anything, or we trade for more cash flow, because that means that there is not a dominant force. Now, that sounds like a lot, right? Maybe you want to go back and watch this part of the video again, but it's really pretty simple. All we're looking for is zero, plus 500, or minus 500. If we're above those levels, then it's obvious. If it's stuck between plus and 500, then there's nothing to do, or cash flow type trades. So if we look at the ticks again, this is the zero line. This right here is plus 500. You can see we're punching above plus 500 into plus 1,000 consistently. The better part of the morning on Friday, we barely hit these big negative numbers. And then Friday afternoon came and we were kind of all over the place. So what does that mean from a day trading perspective? What I'm looking for to be a buyer today, I'm looking for the SPY ETF and a lot of the stocks that rallied hard on the hourly charts to maintain that bid. If they do, and if the tick reading stays above zero, better scenario, it starts to get closer to plus 700, plus 800, plus 900. And if we have a downtrending VIX reading, we'll take a look at that right now as well. So we're looking at the VIX, the volatility index. If that is downtrending, that means that the market is rallying. So what I just walked you through is how we walk through. It's a tiny part of the process, but that's what we call building an argument for an idea. The more you know what you expect to see and want to see, the easier it is to buy and sell stocks, because you're not lost anymore. You know exactly what you're looking for. It's the problem of trading when you know what you want to see, but you don't see it and you still trade anyway. Those are the little mental errors that we need to get out of our trading so that we can increase our conviction, increase our confidence, and best case scenario, see our account grow steadily month after month. So that's the map. That's the roadmap that I'm looking for in the bigger picture of the market right now. So now I want to break it down into taking a look at some ideas as far as stocks that meet the perfect criteria, and then determining which stocks, sectors, and groups might go into our daily game plan today. So what I'm actually going to show you right now is a worksheet that I use every single day, which is I do this every day for the community. I give the top stocks, I give sector rotation. We have this whole breakdown. So what I'm going to show you right now, you can actually download a copy of what I have right now inside of our free trading group. It's in our Top Trading Pros Facebook group. So I'm going to show you this, and then you could click the link in the description to hop on over into the group, and you could download this. Because look, I want to help you get your research in order. You need to be structured, because the more you know what you're looking for, the easier it is to find. And once you understand how to do this process of building out your game planning, This is where you elevate yourself from I am just a chart reader to no, I'm a trader and I'm scripting out my success. So I'm going to walk you over to that sheet right now. Okay. So here's what we're looking at. And you can see, obviously, this is my game plan for the week. And we're going to go across the sheets on the bottom. So I just want to make it clear. You can get a copy of this so you have your own spreadsheet for yourself. You can download it or make a copy for yourself. Click the link in the description below. Shoot on over to our free trading group in Facebook. It's called Top Trading Pros. Fill out the I think there's 3 questions, and you can download this copy, and there's some other good videos in there you could watch as well. So we just talked about healthcare. So that's really where part of my list came from. You can see it's got 3 stars here, so to speak, where it performed well on the week, the month, and it performed on the day. So remember, a big part of what we do to make trading almost as done for you as possible is you need to know that stock market power pyramid. So it's not a coincidence that I worked my way over into those healthcare stocks. They rose to the top of the list. It's our job to say, where is the smart money allocating their money right now, and how do we piggyback and track alongside them? So remember, what we're talking about now is finding ideas. Trading is a little bit different. That's what we need to do in real time together to have those discussions where I'll give you my entry, my exit, my position sizing. So remember, what happens between entry and exit, that's a whole other skill level. Right now, we're just talking about order flow. So I almost forgot. We talked about healthcare and how they floated up the list. I want to make sure that I give you the list of stocks in the healthcare area that are on my radar right now, which is this list. So you're going to go in here. Again, I just posted this in the description. You could go up there and take a look at these stocks. These are the ones that I'm paying attention to. And I think this one right here has been the stock that we've been talking about for a while. Let me hop on back over to the daily charts. And ABBV, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, again, and this is so important. I just wanted to make sure I come back. I'm doing this for you every day. I'm pretty much making it done for you to how to understand what's about to happen in the market. I never look at stuff that happened yesterday. We're always talking about what I expect to happen today and this week, which I think is something that makes us a little bit different. We're not doing an armchair quarterbacking. I'm telling you how I'm looking at the market, why I'm looking at the market, and how I plan to trade the market going forward. ABBV. By the way, if you haven't done so already, make sure you smash that like button. Give us a thumbs up if you find this kind of stuff helpful, so you get updates. That's really the most important thing. ABBV, something that we've been talking about for a while, since a breakout and a pause. You hear me a lot mention a push and a pause. That's what I want to show you. We had a push, a pause, a bullish U-turn, a bullish gap, and then a really big move to the upside. So it's kind of like reading the song versus reading the notes in the song. These smaller pieces of the puzzle, when you do your game planning every night, add up to really high probability trading scenarios. But like I said, you need to put in that game planning time. You need to put in that extra half an hour. I talk about it all the time. You have one of these. Everybody's got one of these. Set an alarm to make an appointment for yourself. If you want to run a stock trading business, set an alarm to say every day at 7:30 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 6 o'clock in the morning if you want to wake up earlier. Run the business on a schedule, because the more predictable you are on the clock to running that business, the more predictable your results are going to be. Super important. So those other stocks that I wanted to talk about, ABBV, this breakout here was where we actually had it. So we broke out. This was the big level that we were watching. Finally cleared that level. Broke out, paused, bullish U-turn, bullish gap, reversal, bullish gap again, and good volume. So we're looking for ABBV to stick through there. Okay. But what I wanted to talk about more is here. So what we talked about is healthcare stocks rose to the top and they stacked the order flow. That's really the main point that I want to get across. You take nothing else out of this video today. You need to learn how to stack the order flow. You stack the order flow, which is what we teach in the New York method. You understand when you should have more conviction. Raise your hand if you've had a really good trade in the last month and you got out too soon. Everybody has done that. That's probably the single biggest secret that people need to learn is, how do I understand when to hold on to my bigger trades? How do I understand when to sit through that little bit of a pause? Jesse Livermore talks about it in Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. He says the pauses or natural declines I knew were coming in exchange for that next bigger move. This is how you do it. You learn to stack the order flow, which is from the week, the month, and the day. So a lot of stocks had a good day on Friday. A couple of groups had a good area on into the week. So that's the last 5 days. Now, what's interesting is working our way over here into this list of the top stocks. And you can see the first thing I did, and this is important as well. You want to get in there and download this. Like I said, go over to the Facebook group. You want to manipulate the data. These stocks meet the perfect criteria for the last month, the last week, how they changed on Friday compared to the previous day's close, and more importantly, how they closed from the open on Friday, which means that they all had green candles. So they had green candles, were positive from the previous day, positive over the last 5 days, and positive over the last 21 days. So again, I'm teaching you how to stack the order flow. Stacking the order flow is where conviction comes from when you learn to buy stocks. But that's not the whole picture. Remember, the other two pillars that we talk about are tape reading, which is buying as close to the optimal entry as possible, then reversing risk, which is understanding position size and what kind of profit targets you should be going after. So now this list right here, I'm going to show you how I manipulate it. So when you download it or make a copy for yourself, you know exactly how to work this list. So the first thing we want to do is we sorted this based on how they traded over the previous 5 days. So you go over to that column and you're going to want to sort this from A to Z. So you can see they're now listed. So the stocks that are at the top here had the biggest percent gain for last week. So the last 5 days. Now I run this for our community every day. So it's always a rolling 5-day period, not Monday through Friday. It's a rolling last 5 previous days traded. So in this case here, you can see OSTK, which is one of the stocks you've been trading a while, MP. So you work your way down the list there. Now, here's where this list becomes really valuable and you really start to elevate yourself from chart reader to trader. Okay. If you're struggling right now, you're probably trying to be a better chart reader. You do not want to be a better chart reader. You want to be a trader who is setting up probabilities and then allocating the right shares and then understanding how to hang on to those winners and kick out those losers as a business expense. So what I just showed you is the first way to manipulate this stock data. The second way, now we're going to go down into the sectors. Are there any sectors dominating this list right now that I should need to pay attention to or that I should pay attention to, and which stocks from those sectors? So we just sorted this sheet based on how they did over the last 5 days. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to sort it by sector. Now your job is to get in here and take a look at some of the ideas. Now what's kind of cool about this, and I say cool in a way that it's a easy way to follow through on things. If we do nothing more than go through this list and we take a look at MP, STLD, MOS, we're going to start to find some ideas that are obviously showing bullish order flow. So you can see here that this is not a coincidence that those stocks and that sector has been one of the stocks that we've been looking at. So this should be another watch list that you have. Then we work our way down. Communication services, nothing to do there. Consumer cyclical, okay. Energy has had a big buying pressure. Consumer defensive is actually pushing up to the upside right now, but you can see out of all of these stocks, it's really more down towards the bottom of the list. Energy stocks, we just said they've kind of lost their mojo, but they've been good over the certain periods of time. So now what you want to notice is when you're looking at these groups, are they green across multiple time frames? And they're not. So this is definitely a sign of buying pressure starting to work its way out. So a lot of those energy stocks that have been in the list and been really strong for the last 6 weeks, which we've been telling you about, have now started to lose their bullish mojo. They're still in the list of meeting the perfect criteria, but across time, stacking the order flow, it's not as a vicious move to the upside as we've seen. So what does that mean? That means that, again, elevating yourself from chart reader to thinking like a trader, that means that when we see that, we adjust our position size a little bit lower. We're a little bit more strict in the fact that we'd be looking to build positions as opposed to a little bit more aggressive share size on the start of the trade. We'll be looking to maybe have a little bit tighter initial profit target, looking for feedback before we have a little bit more share size, versus some of these basic material stocks, which are breaking out with volume and giving us better opportunities right now. So that's one way of manipulating the data. The second one is then you're going to go down into industry groups. So the same way that we broke this down by sector, you're going to go to the top column there, and you're going to look for the same thing across sectors, and you're going to break this down as well. Now what you're looking for is you're looking to see, are there any dominant groups of stocks that I should be paying attention to? And again, oil here, we just said that, but it's working their way down that list. Industrial metals, we talked about before. MP, I think we mentioned, had a big breakout there, which it did. and working our way down, looking for some of the other ones. Semiconductors have been relatively strong. ON has actually been strong as well. So obviously we're on the live stream this morning. There's only so much that we can go into depth here because I wanted to make sure I provided you those 4 different sectors of groups of stocks to buy. We talked about Lucid stock compared to Tesla and some of the other electric vehicle stocks. So what I want to give you a heads up on is the same way that I just showed you, take those stocks in the sector and they go into a separate watch list. If you want to elevate your trading and you really want to start to think this through and be prepared before the market opens, take those lists of healthcare stocks that I gave you. Take those lists of electric vehicle stocks that I gave you and the other stocks, put them in separate watch lists, watch them over multiple time frames, learn to stack that order flow. If that starts to work out for you, great. If you find that you're in the right stocks, but you're not making money, then that means that the next step you need to take is to really start to understand how to build a game plan for position size, profit targets, how to use that momentum profit maximizer, and what to do between entry and exit. So if you notice in this sheet here, if we go over this just one more time, there's 59 stocks that meet that perfect criteria today, or 59 stocks. To give you an idea of how volatile the market was Thursday and Friday, Wednesday, and then going into Thursday, that list only had 4 to 6 stocks in it. That's how much the market reversed. It was a pretty strong bullish reversal to the upside, but now we're just waiting to see whether or not it was short covering or fresh buying by the smart money steps in. So that's how you got to be prepared for today. You can get this list, this entire spreadsheet, which, by the way, has some more columns on the bottom. I gave you all of the earnings reports for this week. You can see the stock, the day they come out, before or after the market closes, all throughout the week. This is the list of top stocks. This is how I break down sector rotation. This is a list of stocks that represent the market. This is another watch list that I have. Sectors, the major sectors, a little bit broader sectors, and then a much bigger list of all of the sector stocks. So look, if you want to elevate your game, go into our trading group. It's a free group. It's in Facebook. Go down into the description, click it. You'll get other training videos in there, how to set up your trading screens. But get this template because this is the one that I'm using for this week. All right. I have to head out, everybody. I got to get ready for the game plan. Have an awesome day. If you get some value out of this, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you smash that like button. Leave a comment below the video if you have any follow-up questions about how to use that spreadsheet. But you got to go down into make sure you get into our Facebook group. Have an awesome day, everybody. Let's be good today.